This is Think Tank, powered by Vodacom. It's a rugby show that runs like Jesse Creel, tackles like Warren Whiteley, and kicks like Bismarck du Plessis. I'm Zelim. This is Tank Lanning. Tank, some Hollywood moments at Ellis Park on the weekend. The Lions came back from the dead to beat the Highlanders.
Astonishing. A little bit of help from Craig Dubé, perhaps. Odd forward pass, perhaps not being spotted. And if the Sharks maul was called a no try, that 25-meter effort for the Lions also has to carry a question mark. But you know what? Last week I said, could they go all the way? And I was doubting myself. I'm actually going to jump into the Lions camp. I think they've been bloody astonishing. I think they're playing a great brand of rugby. That was proper character on the weekend. And, they're just doing so many good things. I also took a bit of stick last week for not having a single Lions player in my form-booked team. But, the point that I didn't get to make was that probably almost out of 15 positions, 11 of them, the next best would be Lions.
Right.
And perhaps that speaks to a point, is that the Lions are, they don't have the big stars, but they don't have to have these breaks to rest players. Perhaps they've got almost the second best player in every position playing regularly every week.
Right.
And it's working wonders for them.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm a huge fan of Rudolph Strali and Jan Ackerman. I think they're doing a great job at the Lions. I'm not a believer that these guys are going to go to the playoffs and win anything, but do you think that maybe that continuity you spoke about there, with them not having Springboks, no big name players, that sort of sole focus on Super Rugby is perhaps why they're doing so well this year?
Yeah, look, I think it's a big focus. It's a big positive rather than a focus. Also, to your point about the coaches, there's just two of them in the box. Every other Super Rugby franchise, there's about 17 people crammed into that box. Yeah. He's focused. Johan Ackerman is focused.
Right.
He's also, he's kind of old school in that, there's only two coaches. He takes the scrums. He does everything.
Yeah.
Guys play for the jersey, play for the heart. That's also kind of old school,
Right.
And I think they've got that right. And
Right.
it's still a team sport. It's professional, 100%.
Right.
But I still think there's some old school traditions that are really being worked well in Joburg.
Right, they've got 31 log points. They've got to host the Waratahs and the Brumbies. I think they're away to the Cheetahs and the Stormers. Are they going to make the playoffs?
No. I just think, you saw from the Stormers it wasn't pretty, but they had a whole lot of scrums which brought them back into the game against the Brumbies. And, that it was, I'm saying I was going to say it's a level up, but it wasn't a level up in entertainment, that is for sure.
Yeah.
But just a level up in intensity. And I probably think it'll be one of the Bulls or the Stormers who are going to fly the flag.
Right. You mentioned the maul earlier on, and we spoke about some refereeing decisions. The Sharks were hard done by with a changing lanes call. The Lions got away with it. Just your thoughts on that, Tank?
Yeah, look, I've called it legalized obstruction for 2 years now, and it's a scourge of the game. We've got to get it out of the game. It's become too easy to score tries because it is literally legalized obstruction. You've got 5 players in front of a player who carries the ball. You're not allowed to tackle the front person. What else is it? It's obstruction.
Right.
So for me, there's 2 options here. One, make the guys carry the ball at the front so that you pack people behind them, which means that the team can then obviously tackle and bring it down because you're tackling the player at the ball.
Right.
Or just allow the maul to be brought down.
Right.
As Nick said in studio, and I've been saying it for a while, there's not too many injuries from bringing down a maul, but we simply cannot have this where it's just almost impossible to stop, apart from the Canes.
Yeah.
And John Plumtree, take a bow. He's kicked out of the Sharks. The Sharks have gone straight downhill. He's gone to Ireland. He's done a hell of a job there. He's gone to the Canes. His maul defense is exceptional. Really is very, very good.
Yeah.
So you can defend it. Of course you can, but it becomes very, very difficult.
Right.
And I just think it's not part of the game of rugby. It's not a fair game it's not a fair contest.
Right.
Let's get rid of it.
You mentioned safety there. It kind of leads me into my question of the week, which comes from Heinrich Hagen. He's talking about scrum tactics and how some supporters don't really understand the tricks and the laws. A lot of penalties against scrums this week, sometimes for guys putting their hands on the deck to keep the scrum steady. Is that a safety issue? Why is that against the law?
Oh, it's another thing. Jeepers, have you got all day for me, please?
Let's go.
No, I'll tell you a short story. So for False Bay Rugby Club, we had sort of about 15 clips.
Okay.
Guy Kebble, Keith Andrews, Charles Marais, and myself.
Right. We're all stars.
Yeah. The heavyweights. They reinforced the bench, and they had us sitting there. We all watched the scrum, massive buffet. And then they showed us a scrum and said, well, what happened there? And Keith would say something, Guy would say something, Charles would say something, I would say something, all different.
What?
You know, and I've spoken to, like off the record, to Jonathan Kaplan and Craig Jabber, and, you know, to be honest, they're under pressure to stop the resets.
Right.
And, you know, come the third time round, they don't really know what's going on. They're guessing, and it's penalty, just because they've got to move away from the scrum. So it's a disaster area.
Yeah.
The scrum is a real horror show, right up there with the driving maul. So, you know, I wrote a column on it last week. You know, I think there's a few things we could do straight away. One, allow the hand on the ground before the set.
Right.
What's so criminal about that?
Right.
Let the guys bind wherever the hell they like. Why do I have to go onto the body? And, you know, these guys are like baobab trees wrapped in a sausage skin. You know, it's impossible to get a grip. And now you're telling him he's got to go around the arm, which is the same size as a redwood tree.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible. And allow scrumming in, but don't allow popping up. Those three things, you know, and I think you've got much fewer resets and a better contest, and plus, put the ball in straight. You know, we loved that last year. Suddenly it's gone away completely. Put the ball in straight means the guys have to scrum a little bit higher, less resets, and there's 3 changes, and I think we'll have a better scrum.
What do you reckon your heart rate's at about now? 150, 160?
I do know that I go to call a cardiologist right now.
That's it for this week, guys. Please keep the questions rolling in using the hashtag ThinkTank. We'll see you soon. Be sure to check into vodacom.co/rugby. Ciao.